Well, Ethan back tonight with a album review. I'm going to be reviewing an album, like I say every time, that I've been getting into a lot. This band I've been listening to pretty regularly for probably at least the last 9 months. This album, though, I just purchased. I got it used at a CD store in Chattanooga, Tennessee. CD, vinyl, game, and book store called McKay's. Really cool up in Chattanooga. A lot of good stuff for really low prices. I got this particular CD for $6. Yeah, this is the second album from this band from Jacksonville, Florida, released in 1970. This is the Allman Brothers, Idlewild South. You can kind of see the label there. There's the guys in the band on the front. This was released, like I said, 1970. The Allman Brothers, first off, were founded in 1969. They released their legendary album, debut album, in 1969. Probably their greatest album, arguably. Probably their most legendary, hard to follow, something like that. Kind of like Leonard Skinner. First album was so good, really hard to top that. And I don't think they ever did. Although this one's darn close. This is a excellent album. And what I'm going to be reviewing today, so let's focus on this one. Released September 23rd, 1970. Recorded February through July of 1970 in Macon, Georgia, and New York City at Capricorn, which was in Macon. The band originated from Jacksonville, Florida. They later relocated up to Macon. I've been to Macon many times. My grandmother's lived there. Down in central Georgia. This band consisted of, obviously, everybody knows Greg and Dwayne Allman, the two brothers. Dwayne on guitar, Greg on organ, vocals, and songwriting. Greg Allman, legendary vocalist, his older brother Dwayne, who sadly passed away a year after this album was released. You have Dickie Betts on lead guitar. The other guitarist, they had a twin guitar attack, one of the first bands, along with Wishbone Ash, to kind of do that. And then later Skinner and other bands in the Southern rock genre. Although at the time, these guys were not considered Southern rock. Southern rock would start to incorporate that 2 and even 3 guitar attack. You got Dickie Betts on lead guitar, Barry Oakley on bass. He did vocals on some songs. You got Jay Johansson on drums and percussion, and Butch Trucks on drums. So a 5-member band. Well, 6 members, actually. So a big group of rabble-rousing Southern rockers. Strongly influenced by the blues, as is evident in the music, and also jazz, especially that first album. And a particular song on this album, very jazzy. They had a lot of jazz influence in their music. Blues, even some country. With Dickie Betts, they would later become more country with the albums after this one, Eat a Peach, and Brothers, especially Brothers and Sisters. You know, Ramblin' Man was a Dickie Betts song. The track listing is as follows. It starts off with a song called Revival. Really good. Kicks in with a nice slide guitar from Dwayne Allman. Just a great kickoff track. Screeching slide guitar on that. And then it kind of transitions right into a song called Don't Keep Me Wondering. Fantastic song. Sort of a heavier, bluesier rocker. Just a real in-your-face, fun Allman Brothers song. And then you got their third track, the classic Midnight Rider. Just a, released as a single, I believe, for this album. Midnight Rider released as a single. Just a classic FM rock radio tune, staple. Probably overplayed for some people, but I've always loved that song. I prefer it over Ramblin' Man. Ramblin' Man's a little too mellow and country for me. I prefer more of a hard rocking song like Midnight Rider with a, a killer, just a killer Greg Allman vocal. And what a vocalist he was, especially at such a young age. I mean, he was like 22 when this came out, like 21 with the first album. 21 years old, and in a legendary band singing some amazing vocals. Yeah, Midnight Rider, classic song, great flow, it's catchy. And then you've got a Dickie Betts song, a jazzy song. I'm sorry, more country influence from Ramblin' Man was Barry Oakley, not Dickie Betts. And In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, just a haunting, weaving, almost progressive jazz fusion-y instrumental from this band. Really probably a top 5 Allman Brothers song right there. Just a really beautiful harmonies in it. You got great guitar, you got great solos, you got slide guitar, you got weeping guitar solos from Duane and Dickie Betts. Mainly the writer is credited to Dickie Betts, so it's probably mostly his guitar work. But what a fantastic song, In Memory of Elizabeth Reed. And played live, I've heard it's even better. Side 2, you got Hoochie Coochie Man. Their Willie Dixon and Muddy Waters cover. I believe Muddy Waters was the original writer of that song. Well, Willie Dixon wrote it, and Muddy Waters sang it, I believe, both from Mississippi. It's a classic blues song, and the Allmans do huge justice to it. I love this version of it. A lot of bands were doing that song around this time. I think CCR did it. Cactus did it. There are other bands, but I really, really love the Allmans. It probably really is one of the best versions of that blues classic. Please Call Home is the next song. Probably my least favorite song on the album, but still a really good song. Kind of a little more mellow, a little more melancholy, a little more slow. Not quite as heavy and rocking. Last track, Leave My Blues at Home. Fantastic. Just a great in-your-face blues rocker with a fantastic vocal performance from Greg Allman, the little brother. What a singer he was. I mean, all over this album. And especially the first album, man, his vocals are phenomenal. People like Ronnie Van Zant from Lynyrd Skynyrd really kind of took what Greg Allman did and ran with it. Yeah, the guy, Ronnie and Skynyrd, had his own style, but you could hear some of that influence from Greg Allman, just a legendary bluesy singer with that big voice. And if you look at him, he's just a little skinny blonde guy. But man, he could sing. He had a big voice, much bigger than he looked in appearance. Yeah, legendary Greg Allman. Wonderful vocal throughout this whole band and album. Just the pairing of him and his brother Duane on guitar. It's just gold. One of those great sibling bands in rock and roll history. I mean, the Allmans, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Pantera comes to mind. Van Halen comes to mind. A lot of great sibling bands. And this is probably one of the best right here, the Allman Brothers. And that's it. Just 7 tracks, 1 cover, so 6 originals. A short album, not real long. Again, the longest song, In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, over 6 minutes. Almost 7 minutes, and it's over in 30 minutes and 47 seconds. It doesn't overstay its welcome. This would soon be followed up a year later by At the Fillmore East, which is a legendary live album. This one, again, second album. Let's see, you got the back, the cover. There's the inside. It's got a little booklet in here. Just a wonderful album. Got the track listing right there. Sorry about the little bit of glare. I'm gonna try to get better lighting at some point and actually put some effort into lighting and camera angles for my videos. But I had to come on here and review this album. An album I've been listening to a lot recently. One I recently picked up. I'm excited to have a hard copy. It's always nice, In the age of streaming, we don't really need physical copies, but if it's something that I really like, and especially classic rock connoisseurs, a physical copy is just something we really want to have. It's just nice to have that, especially if you can get it for cheap, especially CD, vinyl. Vinyl is a little more expensive, but you can still get cheap vinyl. But yeah, I had to get this. Idlewild South from the Allmans, their second album, sophomore effort. I'm going to give it a 93 out of 100. Again, like I kind of mentioned earlier, probably not as legendary as their first album that came out in 1969. That album is just killer. This is a close second, though. And I think, for my money, this first two Allman Brothers albums are probably the best. Yeah, the next couple are good too, but they never quite... After Duane Allman died, they were never quite the same, I don't think. It doesn't seem like. But still really talented after that point, it must be said. I honestly need to listen to a lot more of their later stuff because they continued to release albums right into the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I need to go investigate those albums because I have not, if I'm being honest. I have not listened to anything other than their 70s material. So that would be my homework for myself. But yeah, Greg Allman, he died in 2017 in Georgia near Savannah. I think the band kind of called it quits after he passed away, and probably for the better, in my opinion. I mean, the Allman Brothers, the name, when both brothers have passed away, I think you can't really continue on with the band at that point. I mean, some bands do that. They, give the rights to the name or whatever, the legal stuff, but I'm kind of glad they didn't try to continue on like a lot of bands do. But anyway, I'm rambling. I could talk about this kind of stuff all day. Yeah, phenomenal album. Idlewild South from the Allmans, 93 out of 100. Thank you for watching this album review. Please comment if you've heard this album and love it or love the Allmans. If you haven't, I strongly suggest you check them out. Awesome album. Start with the first two. The first album and this one. Yeah, leave a comment, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.